Benny and Terry. Good morning and happy New Year. So you get one more opportunity this year to come back tonight and be with us for our service is going to be about letting go and releasing and then embracing for the new year. So I'll give you more about that. So our musicians today are Terry O'Hara and Benny Yangco that you just heard, and we have an awesome baritone voice with Peter Kirkland, and hooray to our team up in the loft for our audiovisual, Erik Perrohe and Ronald Edens. They keep us on track. Our practitioners today are Laura Lee Bentle and Suzanne Frazier. Today's service will be, message will be given by Reverend Casey Taylor via Zoom. She's been with us before, she's dynamic, so I'm glad you're here. We are an inclusive, welcoming, and heart-warmed and centered community. If you're new today and are comfortable raising your hand to let us know so we can welcome you. Thank you, yay. And 2 more, so we have 3 new. Awesome, thank you so much for being here and sharing our spiritual home. So we want to take a moment to remember who we are and what we believe. The Center for Spiritual Living in Tacoma, also known as CSL, is a peaceful, loving, and joyful community with a shared set of values, principles, and practices. Our vision is to create a world that works for everyone. And we would like to offer to invite you to join our spiritual community to create a vision of a world that works for everyone. And we do this by practicing meditation and prayer and teaching and learning of universal spiritual principles, giving consciously, living in the present moment, engaging in a life of service, and finding a pathway to peace. We help empower each of you and each other to bring our dreams to life. So now on to how else you can join us in having fun and getting to know each other better. Tonight we're having the service, and after the service, we're gonna party. And we're gonna have games and food and drinks and merriment. And so please come and join us. It really is a lot of fun. I love games and I love getting to know you all better, and it's another avenue to do that. Next Sunday, January 7th, is our our monthly potluck. So bring a dish that you just love and want to help bless everybody the first potluck of the year with an amazing dish. You might even tempt people to break their resolutions, you know. After the potluck, we're going to ask as many of you as can to help us take down these beautiful decorations of Christmas that we've enjoyed. And now it's time to let go and release those also. Many hands make light work. And my mother of 8 children would say that many times. Classes in the first quarter of 2024 are are on the back table and also online. So come learn about them and sign up online. And that it really enriches you to bring your dreams to life. So next, in January 20th, we're going to be having our next Wine and Tapas. That's a once a quarter event now. And so you won't get another opportunity until April. So come and join us, because since it's chilly outside, we're going to have 4 different kinds of chili: cornbread, salads, dessert, appetizers. So for $30, you get your appetizer, your wine, your main dish, your bread, and a dessert. I mean, really, that's a pretty good deal. And if you would like a free ticket, guess what? We have 5 to give out, free tickets, if you would like to help us join putting it on. So just see one of us that are on the team, or write it on the little thing in the bulletin of abundance that you would like to help us put this on, and you'll get a free ticket. So we also have a save the date. This is hot off the press. There's 6 of us that are working together to create a women's retreat. It's going to be in Oregon and at our CSL newly acquired retreat center. More information is coming next week, and you can start signing up on January 14th. It's going to be amazing. So Erik, I believe, has an announcement for us. And so while he's coming down, he wanted to give this in person for us on a Friday night event that you can that happens once a month here. Erik, come on down. He's one of our great audio-visual people.
Hello. Okay. I always wanted to go see a rodeo, And then I found out about the Enumclaw Rodeo. There are rodeos, they're always in some other state, Texas or wherever. But then I found out there's one in Enumclaw. So I went to it, and I took a whole bunch of photos, about 6,000 actually. And I'm trying to weed that down to about 50. And Tripod Arts is this wonderful gathering of artists that meets here once a month. And they have different artists all the time, and a wide range of topics. A lot of it is people sharing their work, talking about the work that they do. Sometimes we get somebody's vacation, though. For instance, there was one person who went to, I think it was Norway, and he did this whole slideshow on the sculptures that were in Norway. But anyway, lots and lots of stuff. But I'm really excited because I'm going to be showing my slides of the rodeo, and that is the third Friday of every month, which will be January 19, and I'd love for everyone to come. So, okay, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Good morning. I'm Reverend Drew, and it's good to see you all this morning. Also tonight, just to FYI, the kids program is all decorated for a disco tonight. So if you know any kids, grandkids, other kids, have them come tonight. They're going to have a little cool disco party with Caitlin Hamilton, who's amazing downstairs, wonderful teacher, and she does a beautiful job. Go see it after the service you went to. It's really kind of fun down there, kind of glitzy and glammy. So it looks kind of cool. And tonight's going to be really about letting go of something intentionally. We have great music by Peter. It's going to be a celebration. But what you really, really want to let go of in a heartfelt way, and what you really want to embrace in the new year, very intentional. They're not resolutions, they're intentions. We set New Year's intentions. So come on and set your intentions. And I think Ty's going to come up and mention real quick about a recognition breakfast that he and our amazing Roger are putting on. So Ty.
Thank you. Thank you. And I just have to say I'm excited that Casey is presenting today. They are, as you may know from their previous presentations, doing a number of ministerial services, but they are also administrative support for the home office and big support for me. So I love them. Okay, so Roger and I were downstairs planning the breakfast to honor our pledging, and to be a broken record, the most amazing, wonderful pledge year we've had ever. So we want to thank everyone who has pledged, and that means pancakes and some vegan sausages, as well as maybe the regular sausages. But Roger's going to do the gluten-free, and I'll do the whole wheat sourdough, hemp seed, blueberry type that are pretty good. And so come about 9:15, 2 weeks from today, the 14th, 9:15 to 9:45. We can't serve everybody if they show up at 10 o'clock, but wander in around 9:15 to 9:45, and we'll give you a great pancake breakfast. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. So what we have here is we're creating a genuine space of safe, love, explorative, acceptance, embracing, kindness, warmth, generosity, what we want to see in the world. We are generating it right here, and it emanates throughout. And just to feel it real quick, reach out and shake your neighbor's hand and say welcome, or hug them, or high five them, whatever you want to do. Or fist
Hi, welcome.
Hey. Welcome, welcome. High five. Okay. All right, come on back, come on back. Now, take a deep breath in real quick. How do you feel from that? That's what we say all the time. That's real. That's as real as anything you're ever going to experience in your life. And that's what we want to keep creating, is a world that thrives in harmony together through that genuine act of authentic caring. It's not rocket science, but it is incredibly powerful and effective. Don't forget that every day you live. We also have some gratitudes, but before we do that, I want to invite Luke Smeraldo up to the stage. He has a little message about something to consider prior to our engagement tonight. And he has a little message to deliver about what the near and intentions can bring. And we're lucky to have Luke. He's an amazing guy. Let's hear it for Luke.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I want to say before I start that now I truly understand when Erik says that this is not his first rodeo. How did I get up here? There's something that brought me to the podium today, and I'm going to give you context before I share a very quick invitation to you. On June 7th, I was walking the Nature Center, was starting to walk up the hill that I usually do, and I was immediately exhausted. And it was really strange because usually it takes a while before I get really winded. So then I checked, and my resting heart rate that night went from a usual of like 59 to like 80. I have a Fitbit 59 to 80. And I knew there was cause for concern. And long story short, I got tested and was diagnosed with heart AFib, which just is a message of mortality. And I've gone to cardiologists and I've done due diligence, so I'm managing that now. And also what elevated my share with you today is that I launched a book in 2020, 365 Revolutions, which was a product of 6 years of effort. And that went well in the launch, et cetera. But 2 or 3 years later, maybe 2 years later, I've gotten the sense of what's next. And what I've realized from both my physical experience and the creative one is that what is the deepest journey for me is in this place of being rather than doing. That when I actually stay there, I'm invited into a journey that's indescribable, and it's not about what I accomplish. It's not even about me being up here and sharing poetry with you, because I love the feedback and the impact it makes, but when I walk out that door, that fades, and what's left, and what's next. And so I want to share 2 experiences I've had recently about my exploration of a year of being. And the first is I try to get my steps in every day, anywhere from 7 to 10,000. And I was walking the Nature Center contemplating what I was going to share with you today. And I park in a parking lot right adjacent to the Nature Center over on Tyler and 19th. And as I came back, I needed to get more steps in, and I could have gone around the perimeter of the driveway. Or there's this beautiful arch of a tree that into where my parked car is. That's just a incredibly beautiful experience, and it's so fleeting. And I decided on that day that I'm going to take the shortcut, and I'm going to walk under the arch rather than accomplishing my steps. And that for me was a moment of being. Now the next situation I'm going to share with you is much more difficult and problematic, but I'm sharing it for a reason. I am friends with the family of Manuel Ellis, and as you may know, Manuel Ellis was killed by police officers, and I'm friends with his sister, is anguished along with her the mother and the whole family. And the verdict was decided recently, and it was very difficult for me to accept that. I was wrenched by that. And on the evening that happened, I decided to travel to a friend who told me there was going to be a protest on MLK and I think South 11th. So I drove over there and parked, and a car was in the middle of where the light rail usually stops to block it, to basically say the message, it's not business as usual at this moment. And the family was gathered along with activists who, and I'm not going to lie to you or sugarcoat, they were anguished, they were enraged, they were in pain, people were speaking, and there was so much pain that was from that moment, but it's an American historical pain around control of the black body and domination, and there was so much more being expressed, but it was also about that moment. So I was on the peripheral, and I noticed a friend of mine who is another artist and writer who is holding a little baby. And I finally put together that this is the child of Monet, who is the sister of Manuel Ellis, and she was taking care of that baby while this protest was going on and while people were speaking. My friend Roz went into the car with the baby, and I walked over to the car while all of this was happening, And this baby was just in wonder with the world, with the most sweetest disposition, sweet. I say this for a reason, a darker-skinned child, which America has even problems with colorism in terms of lightness or darkness, so I mention that. But that child was just enamored with the world in such a sweet spirit. And so at that moment, I am sitting with two things: the absolute innocence and elevation of this young human, and the historical and present anguish of racism in America and in Tacoma. And rather than fixing all of that, I was just being with that. A moment of being and being present to those seeming contradictions. So I say that to say that being is not always sweetness and light. Sometimes it's about being present with pain, with anguish, or with difficulty. And sometimes it is beautiful as walking under the arch, a beautiful natural arch. What I invite you to do this year is to consider embracing a year of being. There are things that we will always have to do. I have work to do in regards to what happens after the Manuelis decision. But there's also this invitation to be. We in this country are not invited into being. We are invited into doing again and again. We have the worst case of lack of vacations and overtime, et cetera. So we're conditioned otherwise. But I invite you to be present and to think about being as much as you possibly can, and in your own way, walk undering that beautiful natural arch. Thank you.
Everybody, just take a deep breath in. Just consider that invitation to be with what is. That's the other thing that's really beautiful about our center, is that we are not just sunshine and roses. We're very positive, but it's called authentic optimism, in that we can face the difficult with full-on presence. We are okay with everything, the entire buffet line that is our lives. And there's a beautiful power to that. So thank you so much for sharing that, Luke. That was just lovely. Thank you. And the other side of being is this gratitude. And I want to run through these pretty quick because we got a lot to talk about today, but it's fantastic. A family that accepts me exactly as I am. The gifts of the present moment and joyful abundance. Christmas Eve with my family and friends and my CSL family. The people around me who are understanding, non-judgmental, appreciative, open-hearted, and happy to make me smile. Reverend Ebersole and our CSL board members, yay. Well, not for me, for the board members. Just want to be clear. A warm house, a loving spouse, a healthy daughter, a hot oven, right? Love, the guidance to cultivate peace, the sweetness of my aged spouse, bright Christmas lights and decorated trees, walking with friends, Benvenido's music, Benny's music, right? Friends who always have my back. Teeth and my dentist. Right? The anticipation all week to rekindle my joy and happiness and sincerity with my CSL family. And then for discovery of this wonderful, vibrant community at CSL, outlandish abundance, jaw-dropping prosperity, and an avalanche of love. And now, Peter Kirkland. And Terry.
Well, I guess I'll face the crowd. Wow, look at that. Good morning. There's a bend in the river around the way, yes. There's a bend in the river around the way. But just like the falling rain, you gotta make the river change. There's a bend in the river around the way, yeah. but you gotta move your pride aside to get to the other side. There'll be mountains in your pathways around the way. You wanna clap your hands? Come on. When the river gets too deep and gets too high, when the river gets too deep and gets too high, you gotta wait for the falling tide to move to the other side. When the river gets too deep, it gets too high, you gotta know what I'm talking about. When the river gets too deep, yeah, gets too high. Thank you. Good morning.
Now that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Wow, what a service already. You know, I walk in the doors of CSL-Tacoma, and I'm always at home. And I still remember that very first day that I walked through. And you know, Lucas, thank you. Thank you for your heart. Thank you for being. I understand that. My name is Laura Lee Bentle, and I'm a member of the Eastern Band of the Cherokee Nation. So I understand. I get it. I live it. I continue to live it. But today, I am being the spiritual being that my Creator has created. And what I know to be true is that each and every one of you are here for a reason, is not only to hear the beautiful words that are spoken, but to feel this beautiful sanctuary full with love. So, December 31st, 2023. I'm so grateful to be here. And you know, what I know is I don't make resolutions. I make a resolution not to make a resolution. Go figure. So what I do is I set an intention for the year. Last year at this time, I set an intention to read our book, The Science of Mind, every day. And I came across something I'd like to read to you because I think it fits perfectly into what our wonderful Karen KC will be bringing us today. They are smart, and we are blessed to have them here today. And it's under the topic or the heading of The Invisible Whole. And this book was written by Ernest Holmes. Holy, 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 inner presence, great and mighty, inner light that shines divinely, inner life that lives completely, inner joy that smiles serenely, inner peace that flows so deeply, inner calm, untroubled, happy, inner love that gives so freely. Inner truth that never fails. Inner power that holds securely. Inner eye that sees so clearly. Inner ear that hears him always. Inner voice that speaks supremely. Inner good that binds me to thee. Holy, holy, holy. Let's just breathe those words in for a moment. As we're just in the sweet song of silence. So I speak my word for each and every one of you, that this year comes to a beautiful blessing of an end with new ones, new beautiful beings about to be experienced. I have listened to the silence within, and I speak my truth, that the words will shine. The words will bring joy to your heart. In kus puus, we are one heart. And with that one heart, we continue to shine for the world to see. We say our truth, we be our truth. And I know that is so. So as you listen to the words of Reverend Casey, as you listen to the beautiful sounds of the music and the laughter, may your heart be filled with joy. I release these words into the beautiful universe. And let us say, and so it is. Reverend Drew?
When you're down and troubled, need some love and care, and nothing is going right. Close your eyes and think of me, and soon you will be there to brighten up even the darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running, see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You got a friend. Ooh, you got a friend. If the sky above you should grow dark and full of clouds, and oh, that old north wind begins to blow, keep your head together, call my name out loud, and soon I'll be knocking at your door. You just call out my name, And you know wherever I am, I'll come running, see you again. Hey, winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. Ain't it good to know you got a friend? People can be so cold, yes. Hurt you, desert you, take your soul if you let them. Oh, but don't you let them. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Oh, winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You got a friend. You got a friend. You got a friend. You got a friend.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That's beautiful artistry. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. Casey Taylor, Reverend Casey Taylor. They're an amazing human being, a wonderful career in film and television, is writing, producing, varied background, ministry, working with home office and Thai, does some great work with ministry with young folks and amazing people. We're very blessed to have them here today. So please welcome Reverend Casey Taylor.
Thank you all so much for inviting me here today. I feel like, as everybody has spoken about so far, that this has been an incredible service, that just serving as your speaker today feels like such a blessing, because I can tell that each and every one of you are really leading from love and living from the understanding of what it is that we teach. So I'm so grateful to be able to help inspire and really lean into this idea that was brought up earlier of a year of being. Everything that has been said, everything, all of the music perfectly aligns with what I had in mind to talk about, which makes perfect sense because there is only one mind. This is how it works, and we get an opportunity to live it and experience it. And so this concept, well, let me first say that the talk title that I chose today is a wholeness revolution. And what was originally intended for the talk, the global themes team, I am on the global themes team as well. So I was involved in putting together this year of living out loud, though December was not specifically my month, and I'm on the team for 2024 as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that later, but the concept of a resolution, as everyone has really spoken to already, we're kind of moving away from that. I think we're really evolving as a culture to recognizing the power and the value of intention, recognizing the value of spending December 31st in conscious reflection over the course of the year, identifying what qualities may not serve us and we want to leave behind in the year, and having an opportunity to reflect and identify what quality, what goals that we have that we'd like to lean into. And the experience of living as being is a revolutionary act. And so the concept of a wholeness revolution is simply recognizing that when we identify that we are whole, perfect, and complete live consciously from that experience and that understanding, and do the best that we can to be conscious and aware of the presence and the value of who we are, how we show up, the energy that we bring to every single space that we occupy, whether it is a rodeo or a protest, knowing that we are divinely led and divinely inspired to show up in this place, to bring our energy, to bring our love, to bring our light, is a revolutionary concept. So in this day of reflection, it is a perfect opportunity to both recognize that whatever quality resonates with us, whether it is choosing to lean into recognizing that all we are is whole, perfect, and complete, and to live consciously from that understanding, or whether it is something more specific and tangible, like a goal to read Ernest Holmes every day for a year, that regardless of what our intentions are for 2024, that the reality is that we have an opportunity to recognize that setting these intentions, doing the best that we can to live a life consciously, recognizing that wholeness is literally all that there is. There is nothing that we need to do. The experience of committing to reading Ernest Holmes every day is an example of being reminded of our wholeness, that regardless of what qualities that we choose for 2024, what intentions that we set for 2024, the reality is that we are always whole. We are always complete. We are always perfect. There is nothing that we need to do or change. And that is truly a revolutionary act. When you think about the world that we live in right now, we live in a context, specifically in America, where it's the material is front and center. We are consistently being sold something. We are being advertised to ask our doctors around specific drugs, to pharmaceutical drugs to make us feel better, or buy certain products to whiten our teeth, whatever it may be. We are consistently being advertised to, while at the same time, our news media has a tendency to focus on the hot topic of the moment, as opposed to what our local government is doing on a consistent basis. So we kind of are living in this world of an emergent 24-hour news cycle where things are constantly changing and everything feels like a state of emergency. And the beauty of the Centers for Spiritual Living is it is this incredible community. It's a collection of communities around the world where we choose to let go of the noise that is happening in our communities, and to recognize that when we lead with love, when we recognize that we are whole, that experience alone is the revolution that the world has been waiting for, praying for, asking for, and that each one of us individually is living that. And I know, I fully understand that in our own individual lives, it may not feel as if we're making a significant, huge impact on the world, that we are not experiencing the wholeness revolution that maybe we would like to see in our communities and outside of our doors. But I'm coming to find that well, first of all, our soul has its own perfect journey. So it's not on us to determine what the world should and shouldn't look like. The world is unfolding perfectly, whether we like it or not. That is the reality. Regardless of how we feel about the world, regardless of how we feel about our communities, everything is already whole, perfect, and complete. Nothing needs to change, regardless of all of the injustice and division and fear and anger that is present. That the reality is that each person is on their own perfect soul journey, and all of the ways that we are being triggered and hurt and healing is an invitation for our soul to experience some experience of renewal that we cannot understand for each other, and is not even easy to understand for ourselves. This weekend, actually, I've had a personal habit really since I started in the Center for Spiritual Living of doing some deep reflection at the end of the year. And it started with being introduced to this concept of a burning bowl. I went to my first burning bowl, I think in 2009. And I went every single year. My friends and I was 28, me and my friends were going to either our local CSL in Chicago or Christ Universal Temple, which is the Johnny Coleman founded it out of Unity. They did a burning bowl every year. And there was one year in particular that the local center, the local CSL in Chicago had decided to start charging money for the burning bowl. And me and my friends in our 20s were like, nah, we're not going to pay money for this. We've been getting it for free all of this time. We're going to do this ourselves. And so my friends and I just started meeting in one of our apartments, and we would do a burning bowl together. And that evolved into a retreat experience. I'm a part of, as was mentioned, I'm involved in so many things. And one of those things is the Next Gen community, which is about creating space for the next generation of spiritual leaders within our movement. We are targeting people who are 18 to 35-ish to help support them in stepping into an experience of ministry that they best feel like serves them. And I started attending those retreats in 2018 and attended my first silence retreat that year for New Year's Eve. And ever since then, I've been doing a silent practice. So I actually broke my silence for the experience of showing up here to deliver a message for you all today, mostly because Spirit made it clear. I really let Spirit guide my thoughts and guide my choices. And when I was invited, when I was asked, I had the thought of, I'm supposed to be in silence this day. And Spirit said, yes, and this is a spiritual experience. And I recognized that this was something that I needed to do, was to say yes to this for me, and recognize that whatever it is that I have to say today is something that needs to be said to this community. And I recognize that. And even though I may never see the tangible shift, whatever it is that I say that might impact any one of you may not tell me that individually. I will never know this individually, but I'm starting to see the value of showing up, saying yes, trusting my intuition, and allowing myself to be divinely guided. And it's funny that I say starting to see. You would think that I've been a minister for 7 years at this point in my life, that this is a way I've been living all along. But in my personal reality, I went into ministerial school specifically for the education. I never actually intended to be speaking anywhere on Sundays, or not nearly as frequently as I do. And the moment I became a minister, all kinds of invitations for speaking kept coming up. And that sense, that feeling of responsibility is what inspired me to dig deeper, to work harder, because I understood that I could not stand on a pulpit or a Zoom room on a Sunday morning and ask people to make choices that I'm not making within my own life. So the biggest one for me is showing up as the change that I wish to see in the world. And when I was first introduced to this concept, I was focused on the change I wish to see. I was focused on the way that I thought the world should look. And so being the change was about living by example. But I started to recognize, and this was early on in my CSL years, I started to recognize that the more work that I put into being the change, that was a lot of work. That showing up as somebody who's giving, loving unconditionally, that's a big one. How many of you can honestly say that you love without conditions? It's not an easy thing to do. And so I learned that the experience of being non-judgmental, of being a safe place for healing, all of the things that I would have liked to have seen from other people, that they're a lot hard. It's a lot easier to want someone else to be different than to actually do the work ourselves. And that when we do this individual work, it takes up so much of our time and energy that it doesn't even matter what's happening out there. What matters is that as we lean into doing the work, living by example, showing up as being, as we were invited to do in 2024, that's enough. That there is nothing that needs to change. It's this recognition that whatever our soul is calling us to do, this is the invitation to trust it, to listen to it, and to allow it to be guided. This song, You've Got a Friend, that was sang earlier from Carole King wrote these lyrics. You just call out my name and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call and I'll be there. You've got a friend. That is what how spirit works. That winter, spring, summer, fall, doesn't matter what time of day it is. It doesn't matter what's going on in our lives, that we have an opportunity to take a breath, like we were invited to do earlier today, and truly recognize the beauty of the breath that we have in the body, to recognize that what we have in common, what we share, is this breath, and that it is always perfect, and that spirit itself is always breathing us, that it is always available to us, that we don't have to live in reaction to the way things have always been or what we've been taught to believe. And this experience of unlearning that the Centers for Spiritual Living creates this perfect container for is a lot of work. And I imagine some of you have been in it, right? Like, we live in a world where the God that we are taught is a supreme ruler, this judgmental old white man that decides if we are worthy enough to get into the kingdom of heaven after following these arbitrary rules that were created 5,000 years ago and edited and mistranslated many times along the way. So each one of us who chooses to show up and participate in a community like this is choosing to let go, to do the best that we can, not to judge the fact that this is what the majority perceives of what it means to be a spiritual being, what it means to show up as whole, that we are letting go of that, letting people have their own ideas of spirituality, and really choosing to participate and be a part of a community that recognizes the allness of life, that knows that spirit is not divided by gender or race or class or location, that it is not a European idea of what spirit is, but that because spirit is universal, because it transcends race, class, gender, ways of expression, spiritual ways of expression, that there is no end, there is no beginning, that the eternal now is all that we're living in. And retraining our brain to live from that understanding, to trust that everything that is happening to us is happening for us, to know that every single experience of our lives is a blessing, is a significant training ground, that there's not a lot of places in the world that inspire us to live this way, that remind us to live this way, that provide tools, resources, and classes to help us ground this truth into our lives, into our being, into our psyche. And that experience of truly living from it 100% of the day, I'm going to admit, I'm really not there. That's a big part of what this personal spiritual retreat for me this weekend is all about, is having these spiritual practices in place to help me remember the value of being, to help me remember the value of wholeness, and to help me remember that wholeness itself is a revolutionary act. I wanted to read a poem that I'm on this retreat with my wife, and she wrote this book of poetry. You Are My Sunshine is the book that she bought to write these poems in. And it reminded me, as I was looking for quotes and things around inspiration, I was inspired to open up this book and see if she had some wisdom to share with you all. So her poems don't have titles. These are just poems that she writes to me. And this one says, I thought I had a semblance of control, of mastery. If I could think hard enough, I could solve any problem. I did not know I was asking the wrong question. I asked where was the one to fill me when I was left empty. I asked, how can I give to receive when I was wanting? You taught me the answer before the right question. You showed me to ask, can I be love? Yes, it is all that I am. Love is literally all that we are. that we are being invited to recognize that a resolution of wholeness, an intention of wholeness, is simply embracing the truth that love is all that we are, that love is what we are, that there is no separation between us and spirit, that we have a friend in spirit at all times, in all ways, that when we are experiencing discomfort, fear, separation, spirit is always available to us. It is in our breath. It is always present. And that we get to experience gratitude for recognizing this truth, for knowing that we don't have to find the right favor or the right religion, that inner knowing and inner wisdom is with us at all times, in all ways, and all moments, that we have a friend in spirit. I have so much respect for the fact that this community talks about what Reverend Drew said. Authentic optimism means we face the difficulties of life with full-on presence. That is such a beautiful expression of what wholeness is really all about. And this month has been an opportunity for that deep dive, for that question of what is wholeness? What does it mean? How do we live from this understanding, and how do we see it in each other? How do we see the good in all? How do we live knowing that all is well? And I know and trust that each one of us has received the right message to understand that and live consciously from that understanding, to participate in a wholeness revolution, maybe not in the formal sense. There's no website or gathering of the wholeness revolution taking place, but it is happening. That the experience of each person participating in the Centers for Spiritual Living and beyond this, it's not specific to our community. There is a wholeness revolution going on right now. We are in the process of recognizing that the systems that we have in place are no longer serving us. And each one of us is recognizing that our soul has its own perfect journey and leaning into that. I think Gen Z, if you look at what the upcoming generation going into the workforce is the values that they're coming in with, they're operating from the standpoint that rest is resistance, as Tricia Hersey from the NAP ministry says, that they advocate, they take time off, they advocate for themselves and advocate for their mental health, speak openly and vulnerably around their challenges with mental health. They are defying what gender roles, even I would say that my personal decision to utilize they them pronouns came from my experience of spending lots of time with Gen Z and feeling as if this was the they them pronouns were the right pronouns for me. I felt like I didn't live in a community. Oklahoma City is not the most welcoming to this idea, but I found that it's a revolutionary concept for me to choose to embrace this about myself and to stand in it everywhere. And I'm grateful that you all have done such an incredible job of honoring my pronouns. I know it's not necessarily easy for some people to do, so I'm grateful for the ease that I have seen of people honoring and respecting my pronouns. Thank you for that. So I mentioned earlier that I would bring up my role in the 2024 theme for the annual global theme. And I was on the global themes team for the last 2 years, kind of 3 years. There was 1 year where there was one contributor for every single week. So in 2021, I was one of those contributors. And 2022, I was not on the team. 2023, my theme was Love Out Loud in September. And in January, both the January theme and the annual theme is a grand rising. And as we are coming together on December 31st, having conversations around intentions and revolutions, I really think it's important that I mention that tomorrow that this theme of a grand rising begins. And I wanted to share how that theme really came about. During our visioning process, there were words like rise and soul, that we had a word cloud where there were just the words that came through envisioning. The larger ones were the ones that came through with more people. More people mentioned this, or it came up in multiple visioning sessions. And rise was a big word in the center of this word cloud as we were just sitting in reflection of mining this word cloud and identifying what is the theme for 2024. And as I was looking at these words and writing them down in my notebook, I was reminded of a moment at the youth shelter where I work. One of my clients, I had a morning meeting set with her and walked in the shelter. And as people do when you walk into a place and say hello to someone, I said, "Good morning." And she said, "No, I don't say good morning anymore. I say grand rising." And she explains, she said, a good morning, when you think about the word morning, it's like grief. Who wants to start your day talking about grief? Wouldn't it be a much more regal way to start the day with a grand rising? And not only was I blown away by this youth sharing this with me, this is what I was talking about with Gen Z. She also, two of her roommates had gotten fully on this bandwagon as well. They created an art piece called Grand Rising that they hung in their room and educated all of the staff. This is how they want to be greeted in the morning. No more good mornings. Grand Rising only. And so I made that shift and would say Grand Rising to my clients every time that I met with her in the morning, and asked her where she learned about this. And she shared that it was something that was on TikTok. And I came to learn since that moment, this happened sometime last year, probably literally a year ago, that this was a growing movement, more specifically within the Black culture, young Black people. And this was her and the two friends that roomed together and had their Grand Rising art piece, all three of them Black folks in Oklahoma City. So I started to learn that this was a growing trend and theme, and thought, wouldn't this be an exceptional way for us to start 2024, of letting go of the standard forms of greetings that we're used to and embracing a terminology that was created by Gen Z that is growing among the Black population. There are plenty, as I had conversations with other Black folks, lots of Black folks were well aware. Many of them were already using this greeting. And I shared this with the team. And one of the things that we had identified in our visioning process is that we were letting go of the way that things have always been, that we were open to doing things differently, that we were highlighting and emphasizing marginalized voices. And within our movement, young people, and when I mean young people, I do mean 18 to 35, that next gen group that I'm talking about, young people and Black people are very underrepresented in our movement. And so to me, this was a perfect opportunity for us to emphasize what it was that we said that we wanted to release in 2023, that we were letting go of the way things were being done and leading with voices and terms that we don't often hear within our Centers for Spiritual Living movement. And obviously the team agreed, which is why it is our theme for 2024. So as you are in your experience of reflection and identifying your quality, your intention, whatever it is for 2024, I invite you to see it as a grand rising within your own soul's journey, and recognizing that what that grand rising could look like is certainly living from being, that whatever quality that you're choosing, you are rising grandly into it. And the intention is about starting each day with a grand rising, not simply a good morning, but a grand rising. So I would love to cement this for us together in prayer. I invite you to take a moment to get comfortable in your seats in the space where you are, bringing your conscious attention and awareness to the breath, recognizing once again that spirit is literally present, that it is in the breath, that it is breathing us, that we are at choice. We can choose to move the breath how we choose, or we can be conscious of it. We can be aware of it. We can allow ourselves to be breathed by that one life, one truth, one spirit itself that expresses individually as each one of us, infinitely as each one of us. I'm grateful to trust and know that in this time of reflection, that everything that needs to be released in this year is being released, that everything that needs to be claimed in 2024 is being claimed, and that collectively we are participating in an exceptional, beautiful, revolutionary grand rising. I am grateful to know it, to declare it, and I invite us all to affirm this truth together by saying, and so it is. Thank you.
Do that a couple more times if you want. Kind of like that. All right, this is another one of those clap your hand things. I gotta clean up what I messed up. Started my life all over again. I gotta clean up what I messed up. Started my life all over again. I made up my mind, I ain't cheating no more. 'Cause a liar and a cheater can't make it through the door. I gotta clean up what I messed up. Started my life all over again. I gotta clean up what I messed up. Started my life all over again. I made up my mind, I ain't lying no more. I'm gonna turn it around. I'm gonna open up the door and I gotta clean up what I messed up. Started my life all over again. I gotta clean up what I messed up. Started my life all over again. I made up my mind, I ain't cheating no more. I'm gonna run to the center. I'm gonna run back to the door and I gotta clean up, what I messed up, Started my life all over again. Yes, I am. I'm gonna clean up what I messed up. Started my life all over again. Those of you who feel like I do, let's do better. Oh, those of you who feel like I do, let's do better. Hey, I gotta clean up what I messed up. Yeah. Started my life all over again. Goodbye, 23. I'm gonna clean up what I messed up. Yeah. Started my life all over again. Feels pretty good letting go, does it not? I gotta clean up what I messed up. Started my life all over again. I gotta clean up what I messed up. Started my life all over again. Yes, I do. I gotta clean up what I messed up. I don't hear you. Started my life all over again. 24, come on. I gotta clean up, yes, what I messed up. Yeah. Started my life all over again. Yeah. I gotta clean up. Ooh, I gotta clean up.
Would our dancing greeters please come forward now? You couldn't see it, but there's a whole show going on back there. Yeah, that's right. We're cleaning up when I'm messed up. All right. So let's all take a deep breath and say our wonderful abundance prayer together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
Unforgettable, that's what you are. Unforgettable, near or far, like a song of love that clings to me. How the thought of you does things to me. And never before has someone been more. Oh, unforgettable in every way, and forevermore, that's how you stay. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too. Unforgettable, that's what you are. Unforgettable, or near or far. Like a song of love that clings to me. How the thought of you does things to me. Never before has someone been more unforgettable in every way, and forevermore, that's how you stay. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone that's so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Grand rising, everyone. I love that. And I'm going to make this quite short. Most of you know that I love acronyms. 2 words that came to me. Hope, hearing other people's experience. That's what I got from Reverend Casey this morning, right? So grand rising. And love is one of my favorite words. So as we end this service with love, let us leap in, let us open up, let us value each moment enthusiastically. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So let us rise and sing our song.
Be the change. Grand rising to you all. Happy New Year!